as Russians banish the cold and early darkness with wintry fun at an icy Kremlin in Moscow's Victory Park. They're hopeful. Russian-American relations are frozen, says the Kremlin, concluding Obama's isolation strategy has entombed the two countries. The time is right for a spring thaw with a seemingly friendly President Donald Trump.
For sure, the situation right now is tense, but we hope something will change and we will have warmer relations.
Improvement, only improvement.
With much of the world churning over the new American presidency, Russia is welcoming the political upset. Dmitry Drobnitsky, a conservative political journalist, says many Russians are attracted to the Trump brand.
They see him as a fresh breath. He's not a liberal, he's not a globalist, and he puts America first. Although he is a billionaire, yeah, he still looks like a real man. And it's real man, it's in the soul of Russian people.
Trump, Putin, the bromance is overstating it, but for the first time in a long time, Russians like what they see between the two leaders.
I think it's a new hope for good future, for friendship, for all people.
Like a suitor on a first date, Trump has flattered the Russian president, giving him an A for leadership and an A+ for popularity.
Well, he does have an 82% approval rating, according to the different pollsters.
Brushing away the skeptics with an ego play.
If he says great things about me, I'm going to say great things about him. I've already said he is really very much of a leader. I mean, you can say, oh, isn't that a terrible thing he called? I mean, the man has very strong control over a country.
It's the Miss Universe pageant.
Trump brought his beauty pageant business to Russia in 2013, fawning over Putin.
I was in Moscow a couple of months ago. I owned the Miss Universe pageant, and they treated me so great. Putin even sent me a present, beautiful present with a beautiful note.
For his part, President Vladimir Putin has been less effusive in his compliments.
He is an intelligent and talented person, no doubt about it.
Leaving no question where his interests lie.
He says he wants to transition to new relations that are deeper and more sincere with Russia. How can we not welcome this? Of course we will.
Even recent allegations of Russian hacking and election campaign spying haven't dislodged Trump from his message.
If Putin likes Donald Trump, I consider that an asset, not a liability.
I would say there is a certain chemistry between them. They do not consider themselves professional politicians. Because Putin, up until now, he considers himself as a crisis manager for Russia. Because Russia is in permanent crisis. Trump is also considering himself not a normal politician, but a crisis manager for the United States. Let's see how this chemistry will play.
What could cause a breakup?
Anything, you know. It's like you know, two people love each other, and then they try to do something together, and then the plates are flying all over the place.
That's the thing. Each leader will want something from the other. On Russia's list, cooperation on Syria, pushing back NATO, and lifting those economic sanctions. Will Trump and Putin, those two big personalities, be able to navigate some deep divisions? Maybe. But some suggest for the wrong reasons.
Trump is about money. Trump is, in a way, is a very simple personality. He's about interests. And Putin doesn't understand this language.
Evgeny Albats runs a liberal weekly magazine in Moscow, The New Times, a critical take on the Russian regime. Trump's unwavering support for the Russian president strikes her as suspicious and potentially dangerous.
I think that Putin is dreaming about the world where he's in charge and he can do whatever he wants on the territory of the former Soviet Union.
And he thinks that Trump would leave him alone on that?
That Trump will tell him, you know, do whatever you want. I couldn't care less. What? Human rights? Oh, forget about this, you know.
To Albats, the two leaders share an unflinching pursuit of deals and power.
They're cynics. They're people who are driven by greed. They're people who don't respect the basic rights of the people. They think that they're people of the 21st century. They're people of the past.
Russians' historical suspicion and mistrust of the U.S., going back to communist times, has degenerated, reaching a low point with the annexation of Crimea in 2014 and the punishing Western sanctions which followed. Russian leaders, backed by pro-Kremlin media, have fanned the enmity, and in America, Russophobia has reached a feverish pitch.
4 or 3 months ago, the masters made these matryoshkas about Trump, like this, political.
There Trump is now, settled in for sale, next to Stalin and Lenin, with Putin down the row.
Obama?
Previous presidents, from Obama to George W. Bush, have each tried to reset American-Russian relations. Each failed.
You know, the track record isn't great.
In New York, Masha Gessen, a Russian journalist, author, and fierce Putin critic who fled here from Moscow, predicts an inevitable clash.
Putin feels that he can manipulate Trump, that Trump has so far said only the things that Putin would want him to say, that Trump is likely to lift sanctions on Russia.
Putin and Trump, she says, share a brand of leadership.
They both lie. They both lie often and inconsistently. And they lie not in order to deceive so much as to assert their power over reality. Both of them are saying, in effect, I'm president of the country and king of reality. And it's a basic bully tactic. It's a sort of, you know, I'm going to say whatever the hell I please, and what are you going to do about it?
Sergei Kharitonov, a dean of Russian foreign policy, has advised President Putin.
Mr. Trump has a much more powerful country behind him. Mr. Putin has been much more clever, or Russians have been much more clever than Americans. So power vis-a-vis smartness. So we'll see. But it's better to be smart together and powerful together.
But he's cautious. With Trump under attack in the U.S., he could prove an unsteady partner.
Do you think, given that there will be any real change in the relationship between?
There could be, but I'm afraid that with this hatred of this elite which has lost, Mr. Trump could be killed, or he would be bleeded white by all kind of investigations or and accusation. His act would be hindered. So, I mean, he could not probably be a reliable partner.
This week, for the record, Putin was cautious about his relationship to Trump.
I have never met him. I have no idea what he'll do on the international stage. I have no reason to attack or criticize him or protect him.
The night of the U.S. election, Dmitry Drobnitsky and friends in Moscow were glued to the results. Stunned by the victory of a man he thought couldn't win.
I don't love Trump, even don't like him, but I love Americans that have elected him. But in the middle of the race, we had to admit that only a hooligan and only a pit bull like Donald Trump can throw this globalist elite down. He has to be a hooligan.
So you're saying both Putin and Trump are hooligans?
Yeah, sure. Definitely they are bullies. Definitely. And I like that my president is a bully, because he can do nothing about him.
As Vlad and Donald begin their political courtship, Russians are watching closely.
I think he's going to be erratic.
Be aware. He could be undermined.
We don't know anything about what to expect. And that's what really, makes this world a very dangerous place now.
In this new year, Russia will test Donald Trump. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Moscow.